Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. We have some news to discuss today. I think it's on the end of everyone's tongue, and that is that Everton seem very close to being bought by two Everton fans, and not just your typical Everton fan. These are very successful, multi-millionaire Evertonians who've had huge success in business in respective fields. And I want to know what people think about this. So first, the news is that Andy James Bell, who is renowned for the investment platform AJ Bell, in combination with George Downing, who is another business magnate. I believe he's in construction. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But the two of them are leading a consortium that is hoping to buy Everton, and apparently they are the preferred bidders ahead of some other parties, including MSB Sports, who obviously don't want to go away, the Crystal Palace owner, John Textor, who's trying to sell his shares to buy Everton. He actually already agreed a deal with Farhad Mashiri on the 1st of June, once 777's exclusivity period ran out. But John Textor isn't the preferred bidder. It is George Downing and AJ Bell. Interestingly enough, today the Roma owner, Friedkin Group, have expressed an interest in buying the club. And I believe there's 6 parties in total. And I'm pretty sure if you think about Everton's position now, they are in a really attractive position. They've got the stadium very close to being completed. You can see that with your own eyes, which is very exciting. They're in a very stable position on the pitch, I believe now, in good hands of Sean Dyche. They've got some actual footballing assets in Jared Branthwaite, Jordan Pickford, Calvert-Lewin, Amadou Onana, and various others. And so, and really, we showed where we stayed up last season despite losing 8 points, that we're not really going to be in risk of relegation next season unless we lose big players and can't replace them well. So fairly safe investment. Obviously, whoever buys the football club now is going to make a lot of money. But what I do like about this combination is that they are both Evertonians. So they've got enough money. I mean, you look at this, George Downing on his own is worth £500 million, apparently. AJ Bell, is worth several hundred million as well. Why would you want to get involved in something like this when you've got that much money to make more money, unless you're extremely greedy? And I know there are people in the world who are, in that way, but they're doing it, I believe. Yes, they're going to make money, but I think it comes from a good place, a place where they want to take Everton back to the club that they remember in the 80s that was successful and in other times. So it is exciting. And I really do hope it gets done. And what really adds another layer to this, Andy Bell himself apparently going to be the chairman of the football club, which is nice to hear. These are people who've been really successful in business, and to add, further support to this, they are apparently backed by the American Jewish businessman Michael Dell. So we could have Bell and Dell. Michael Dell, of course, famous for Dell computers, Dell Technologies, I should say, and he is worth 120 billion. And his family are extremely wealthy, and he's a big investor in lots of different things. So I think when you put the combination of the three together in this consortium, you've got a really exciting prospect for the future. Now, ultimately, I think what you've got to consider, it doesn't matter how rich the owner is, because you can't capital invest. You're only allowed to make losses of 105 million over a 3-year period. So you couldn't have an owner come in with his personal money and saying, right, I'm going to buy X and Y. It's going to cost me 100 million and we're going to lose a load of money. It doesn't quite work like that. But what I think they will bring is avenue to sponsorship. Could Dell sponsor the new stadium? Could it become the AJ Bell Stadium? Could we get some sort of money in through to the club that way to invest in better players to try and improve the club? We're going to make more money anyway once we're in the new stadium. But I think what they bring in business acumen in terms of putting the right people in the right place. Finally, an actual CEO who knows how to run a football club. No disrespect to Colin Chong, but he was a stadium construction, something to do with the stadium. But he definitely hasn't got the pedigree to run a football club. Put together investment into the academy, because if you can't sign players for 50 million, 60 million, 70 million, let's get the academy profitable, whether that's bringing players into Everton's first team who are good enough for the Premier League for where we want to be, or players who are not good enough for Everton, but we can move and sell on and make a profit. Because every time you're seeing we're losing players, the latest one, Lewis Warrington or Washington. So we've got to invest into the academy, get the right people, get the right money into the academy, and make the academy profitable and successful. As I've mentioned before, attracting the right types of sponsorship deals and commercial deals, and just getting the club run from a business perspective better, so that ultimately on the pitch we can become more successful. And I think the three of them in combination will have the business acumen and the experience to be able to do that and get the right people in place. And I do wonder whether there'll be a bit of self-sponsorship there with possibly the naming rights for the new stadium, something I would be more than comfortable with. I really couldn't care less what the stadium is called, as long as you know, the money goes to improving the club. So yeah, that's it. That's the takeover latest. I'm going to have a look at some of the comments, and then I'm going to move on to a different topic briefly. I'm currently in a hotel, and I know you guys really want to talk about this because it's massive news. If you're new here, this is Follow Everton. Please, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're not a VIP member, you can become a VIP member to support the channel and its growth. Just click the join button if you can see that next to subscribe. Let's have a look at some of the comments on the takeover. Peter Duggan saying, I know these fellows are Evertonians like us, but I'm 70-30 in favour of them owning the club. I don't want to become the club to be run like it has in the last few years. Mr. Blue Skies, good afternoon. Has it crashed on me? Please don't crash on me. Here we go. Bell and Downing are both Evertonians, so they know how we've been feeling the last 3 years. Plus, they're rich. Why exactly? Why would they want to get involved in Everton? Yes, they will make money, but surely, these guys have got the best interest and heart of the club. You can tell that's why they want to get involved. They want to make Everton successful again, and I think that's the exciting element of it. Whereas you're not so sure with 777 whether they truly are trying to be a success in sport, or whether they just want a plaything, or whether they're just trying to asset strip and make loads of money. I don't know. Liam saying, yeah, thank you, mate. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, I get that, but I think it does possibly impact your motive with this. And I think that would immediately see them as quite popular figures. I think Bill Kenwright, yes, he was very successful in theatre and that sort of thing. But the levels of monetary success between George Downing, James Bell, and Bill Kenwright are not really comparable. I think Kenwright was in the tens of millions, and these guys are net worth combined is around $1 billion, and then they're backed by a guy worth 120 billion from America. So it's more exciting than just Kenwright being left to give out jobs for the boys. I don't think it's quite that. Billy Bunter, hello. He said, Everton fans, you deserve some luck and a new fresh start. Thank you very much. A new stadium, new manager, and new chapter in a book. Well, he's not a new manager. We've had him 18 months, but thank you very much, Billy. Give us a thumbs up and smash the like button. Going to move on now. We'll come back to takeover stuff in due course when there's another update. And as I say, there's more than one party involved there. But I think all the excitement is coming really from the Dell backed bid. Just a quick shout out to a friend of mine, Mr. Talon, who's watching in Liverpool, Merseyside. And he's a massive Evertonian. He does love the club, and he's very excited to see whether Everton gets sponsored by the Labour Party or the Greens. Moving on. what was my next topic to discuss? Preseason. We have an exotic preseason trip underway. We are going to Salford. Obviously now a football club again. Congratulations. No, they're not. Hang on, they're not a football club. I'm getting them mixed up with Bury, aren't I? Salford City, the dizzy heights of Salford City in Manchester. We're also going to Coventry. Maybe something involved there in a deal with when we sold Ellis Sims to Coventry that we have to do a preseason game there. So Salford City and Coventry, how very exciting and glamorous days out. It is officially the Brexit pre-season tour. And I think the third team is, to add to the trilogy, is Preston North End for the third pre-season game announced. And the talk is apparently we're going to be playing Atalanta as well at Goodison Park, the final game before the start of the Premier League season. And Everton traditionally stink the place out in pre-season. They are the most boring games where not a lot happens. And obviously the Euros is kind of involved here. There's going to be players late back, not an awful lot of them, but Vitaly Mykolenko and Jordan Pickford are obviously at the Euros, and Amadou Onana. Amadou Onana, a player that's getting talked about being sold. I'll come on to transfers in a moment, but it is very, very interesting about the pre-season. We don't tend to score a lot of goals, and they tend to be trap affairs. I really hope that Everton can get this transfer to get the takeover situation sorted, and we can try and sort out some transfers and get excited for the new season again. The last season at Goodison has got to be one full of excitement and entertainment. It can't just be 6 months of absolute boredom and then win 4 games at the end of the season to survive, which ultimately we didn't even need to win because of how bad Luton were. Transfers inwards, nothing really to talk about. I could make up some bullshit for you if you'd like, if that would give you some comfort, but really, I can't recall any names being linked with off the top of my head, and I am a stickler for following the transfer news, as you know. I have nothing to say. Yeah, so there's no one coming in. In terms of outs, I do have to talk about this. Apparently, Jared Branthwaite is being linked with a £70 million move to Manchester United. And what's really annoying here is that he was going to go to the Euros. He has a slight injury, but I don't think it's a major injury. England have Lewis Dunk, who for me is not good enough, but he's carrying a knock. John Stone's now carrying a knock. They told Branthwaite to go home, kept the Liverpool youngster Kwanzaa at centre back as a spare player just in case of any injuries. You know, he's the backup. So Branthwaite's well down that pecking order, and they said that it was because he wasn't quite ready. But yet they've got Mainu, they've got Adam Wharton in there. I think if you're good enough, go. He's the present and the future, and he's left-footed centre back. But really, why that's annoying is because now it leaves him susceptible to a transfer, because there was a rule in place where you couldn't contact players' agents during the Euros. Now, of course, he'll be sat home twiddling his thumbs. Will he be thinking, do I need a move to get into this England squad? I pray not. I think he's the one player that I think we cannot sell. Just fucking get rid of Michael Keane, Mason Holgate, Nathan Patterson, Ben Godfrey. All of them can go if you need to raise money. They are the 4 that can be sold. We need a specialist right back who's going to nail that first place down and not be trying to cobble together between 3 or 4 options that aren't quite giving us the balance offensively and defensively that we need. But why are we trying to get rid of Branthwaite? Let's raise some money the old-fashioned way. Let's get a sponsorship deal underway for next season. Why don't we? I'm not going to say rename Goodison because that'll go down like a lead balloon. But anything but get rid of Jared Branthwaite, please. But now he's susceptible potentially to go to Man U. And my thoughts on that are, if you were Jared Branthwaite, yes, they won the FA Cup. Okay, they won the FA Cup. But if you want to be successful over a sustained period, and if he's going to go to the levels that people think he is, surely you would wait for Manchester City. There's only one club, or Arsenal. They don't really need centre-halves. You could argue Man City may look at a left-sided centre-back at some point in the future. You'd hold off. If he goes to Man U, that rules out a move to Man City in the future. And probably a move to Arsenal, because they've got a big rivalry as well. And is he going to be mainstay Man United centre half? Have they shown that they're going to compete for the title in the next few years. So I'd be very disappointed if he goes. I think we've got to keep him. I'm disappointed he didn't go in the England squad because I think that would have made the Euros interesting and increased his value. But look, it is what it is. And if we can hold on to him, that would be amazing. Of course, Onana is being talked about leaving, but he's in the Euros now, so it's unlikely any deal for him will be done. Why is that annoying? Well, by the time Belgium get knocked out of the Euros, and you'd imagine they make at least the quarters, probably the semi-finals, by the time he gets back, and any deal can go through for him, oh, are Everton going to be in a position to actually sign a replacement? Can we get that done now? Thank you for the clarification in the comments. So we're just going to come to the comments. As I say, if you're new here, make sure you smash the like button for me and subscribe. If you're on Twitter, great, that's fine. Give us a follow on Twitter. But it would be great if you can come over to YouTube, youtube.com/follow Everton, and give us a subscribe. I've got to go in a moment. I'm in London for work. I'm just going to have a look at these comments, and I'm sure you'll hear more from us soon. Liam says, do we have faith in Mashiri making the right decision on behalf of the club? Well, Liam, I think that the deal with 777 was more about Mashiri rather than the interests of the club. I think it was a deal that really did favour him in certain aspects. But there was some consideration. You just think that owning multiple football clubs across the world is advantageous for player trading and all that sort of stuff. So I get that, but I don't know. I really don't know the answers to that. I think you can decide. Damien say 70 million for Branthwaite. Yeah, I think he's a £100 million player. The type of player that even if we don't sell this season, if he has another good season, we're still going to get the same amount of money. But we're going to have a shitty season at centre half because we sold him. Hold on to him. Why are we panicking? Why are we doing this? Really annoying. Malik, sorry. Hi, Malik. He says, although Everton fans just don't have the finances in place to take the club to where we want to be, Dell is a big name, but I feel it's a name being used to add credibility to the bid. I actually think the two that are interested are credible in themselves. I don't think you necessarily need to have 100 billion to run a football club. But we don't know the ins and outs. Is it just Downing and Bell borrowing a load of money and loaning money to buy Everton from Michael Dell? We don't quite know the ins and outs. I think, could we be getting too excited about this? I don't know. We'll have to find out. And finally, my final comment is, should we sign Ndidi to replace Onana? I think he could add something to the squad. I think we've got to replace Andre Gomez and that creativity in that middle. You could argue we needed another centre mid anyway. We've got rid of Dele Alli. He won't be renewing his contract, let's be honest. So I think we need to look at these areas now in terms of the transfers. Indeed, he could be a good signing. What is his signing on fee? What are his wages? They're the question marks that I've got for you. I want to see us looking for a right back, an attacking midfielder who can also play on the wing as bare minimums. So a number 10 who can play on the right side of the right wing if needed, and a right back. And if anyone goes, we'll see what happens. Thank you, guys. Nice to see you all. Thank you. You've been listening to Follow Everton. We will see you soon. Take care.